Hello and welcome back to Boxing Bots Unleashed. Today I'm going to be doing my post-fight reaction of the Fury vs Usyk fight card. It was a great fight card. Oleksandr Usyk takes the victory again over Tyson Fury, this time a unanimous decision as I predicted in my previous prediction video. You can check it out in the description below. But I was right, Fury couldn't just handle Usyk's pressure, Usyk's stamina, and Usyk is just the overall better boxer, as I've clearly stated beforehand. And Fury, even though he boxed better, which I can clearly admit, and he did better defending against the left hand sometimes, and not getting hit with big power shots by Usyk, he still didn't really push any of educated pace, I would say. As when he would push the pace, it would seem like he was just doing it to just return the favor of Usyk's punches, as Usyk's accuracy was the clear decider of the fight. As you would see Tyson Fury either overswing with some of his punches, which would lead him to look sloppy and also fall into the clinch multiple times. But Usyk has clearly defined himself as a number one pound fighter and one of the best heavyweights in this generation. And we saw Daniel Dubois coming on the stage saying he wants to rematch Usyk, but we have to see what happens in the Joseph Parker versus Dubois fight to see what happens for Usyk. For now, Usyk can take some time off after coming off of his two best wins to date. But yeah, congratulations Usyk for maintaining his unified status. Moving on to the co-main event, which was one of the biggest shockers for me personally, because even though I picked Atuma to beat Dempsey McKean, I didn't expect it to be so quick in the first round. As you see, I predicted Atuma to win and by KO, but I expected it to go to a 9-round fight. But Dempsey McKean was already out of it by the first powerful combination landed by Atuma. As Atuma lands a jab to the body and a sweeping left hand to the head, but Dempsey McKean was trying to dunk under it and ended up hitting the back of his head, which was bad. But that was a punch that was always gonna land, unfortunately, because Dempsey McKean was ducking too much. And one thing I noticed here is Atuma is one of the smaller heavyweights. Maybe we'll see that change as he grows into his size, but he's still a smaller heavyweight just from the fight alone. But it was clear that it was just pure brutality, as Moses Atuma just finished him in the first round with a devastating jab to the body and an overhand to the chin, which knocked McKean badly out, having his ankle twisted underneath him. But that's a good job from Moses Atuma, proving to be the future of the heavyweight division, and we'll see what happens with him as he moves on to further endeavors. For me personally, I want to see him face the WBA regular champion Kubrat Pulev, as that would be a way for him to at least get some sort of title and break a record. But good job for that, and Dempsey McKean maybe could just work his way through lower level guys and trying to get a win after he's lost to Govic and now Moses Atuma. Moving on, we have a fight that I almost got 100% correct. It was Sergey Burchuk versus Ishmael Davis. Ishmael Davis, although being a late replacement, put up a good effort in the first round, showing good combination and good aggression. But it was the second round that already showed that Burchuk was just already too powerful, as he landed a clean left hook that dropped Ishmael Davis, but Davis couldn't handle Burchuk's pressure. But still good on Ishmael Davis for at least putting up a better effort and at least pulling up to the fight when no one else would have on such late notice. And yeah, Sergey Burchuk is now Sebastian Fandora's WC mandatory again, but that's a whole nother story for next time. I'll talk about it later. But for Ishmael Davis, he needs a break after having two short notice fights and not a full camp. So maybe I would see him possibly facing Michel Soro, some of the lower level guys. But yeah, good job on Davis for at least putting up an effort, and great for Burchuk to prove that he's still a top guy in this super welterweight division. And next up, we have the most controversial fight here, and a fight that I'm also upset about, and it's a robbery win from Johnny Fisher against Dave Allen. Initially, I thought Johnny Fisher would easily dispatch of Dave Allen, as Dave Allen was the smaller fighter and the older one, but Johnny Fisher just clearly was already gassed out by the first 2 rounds. I don't know how he was already gassed out from throwing just body shot combinations, and he was always using this Philly shell defense, which was really not effective at all, which I self-admittedly got annoyed at multiple times, that Dave Allen would punish it with uppercuts and even managed to drop Johnny Fisher. But in the end, they gave the split decision victory to Johnny Fisher. which I don't feel like is deserved. But for now, at least it showed us something that Johnny Fisher, he needs to work his way downwards and needs to fix up a lot of these flaws. No more Philly shells, needs to work on his stamina and jab selection. Because from the entirety of the fight, I always saw when he would leave his jab out, it just allowed Dave Allen to counter over with the right hand or just beat him with the jab of his own. And for Dave Allen, unfortunately, this fight would have, if he got the win, he would have probably moved up to do other things like fighting low level British level guys. But now I feel like it would be better for him to face the winner of Otto Wildin versus Derek Chisora next year, as all of those guys are old and none of them have title prospect pictures in the future. So it will probably be a good fight with either of those fighters. Moving on, we have the only one of the other fights that I got wrong, and that was Isaac Lowe trying to beat Lee McGregor, but Lee McGregor just boxed pretty well. Isaac Lowe didn't put on a good pressure fighting performance. It was just being lackadaisical. And from this fight, it was pretty awkward as the mouth guard kept falling out from both of these fighters, which kind of annoyed me at multiple points. But congrats on Lee McGregor for boxing Isaac Lowe and becoming the WC International Featherweight champion, because he just came up from the bantamweight weight class. So this is a good resurgence for his career. And yeah, moving on, we also have a late replacement Peter McGrail facing off against late replacement Reese Edwards. It was a great fight, pretty interesting, pretty exciting. Peter McGrail put on a good effort even though he had to make so many changes. But yeah, good job on both fighters for giving an entertaining fight. Peter McGrail takes it to a decision. I hope Peter McGrail in the future decides to work on his defense, because he was getting clipped by some weird shots, especially the right hand, which can be devastating for his future prospect career. So yeah, I hope Peter McGrail fixes those issues for the time to come. Next up, we have the fight that I predicted 100%, and that was Daniel Lapin versus Dylan Collin. Daniel Lapin just used his height advantage, used his jab and left hook and left hand to just land on Dylan Collin. Dylan Collin just couldn't close the distance. From me, I want Daniel Lapin to at least put a more aggressive effort into his fights, because if he's matched up with a real aggressive fighter who always crowd his pocket, I don't see it ended up well for Daniel Lapin. But Daniel Lapin, a good showcase of boxing, but needs to put up a greater effort in trying to get a person hurt. Next up, we have Andre Nowitzki defeating Edgar Ramirez. Scorecards were a bit too wide in my opinion, but Andre Nowitzki gets it done by decision. I predicted a KO, I was wrong. Edgar Ramirez did his best but couldn't handle it, as Andre Nowitzki would just beat him up and use his boxing skills and win a 10-round decision. And lastly, we have the first fight on the card, and that was Muhammad Alako versus Joshua Ocampo, and I predicted it would go to a decision. Muhammad Alako still barely even a prospect. He's still a fully fledged prospect, so there's nothing much I can say about it. So hope he just keeps up his form. That will cover the rest of my post-fight reaction. My next video will probably be having future fights I want each of these guys to face. But for now, if I'm just going to do a quick rundown without explaining my thought process. For Usyk, winner of Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker. For Fury, fighting Anthony Joshua. For Tuma, Kubra Pulev. For Dempsey McKean is more interesting for me to try and figure it out. And I'll probably lean towards someone like Magomed Kurbanov. Wrong person. I'll tell you guys later. I still can't remember the name of the guy, but I feel Aslanbek Makhmudov, that would be a good fight for him, as Makhmudov is a really low skill fighter and doesn't really have much to showcase for Dempsey McKean. So I feel like Dempsey McKean can bounce his way back against a guy like Aslanbek Makhmudov. For Boachuk, either Sebastian Fundora or the winner between Virgil Ortiz versus Israel Madrimov, because Sebastian Fundora is moving really funny. I'll make a video talking about this entire Sebastian Fundora situation, because it's just such a mess, especially because of Fundora's team. But for Ishmael Davis, as I said, I want him to face a guy like Michel Soro or Magomed Kurbanov. Those guys would be a good for him to at least show that he's at least a rising contender or prospect in the top 10 of the super welterweight division. For Jordan Fisher, I can't really name a lot of British heavyweights for him to face, but for now he has to either rematch Dave Allen to prove that it was just a bad performance by him, or just take the rest of the year off to work on his skills. For Dave Allen, the Johnny Fisher rematch, or winner of Otto Wallin versus Derek Chisora. For Isaac Lowe, he's a featherweight, he's getting on the older side, there's nothing much he can really do at this point in his career. But if I were to make a suggestion, I feel like he has to face TJ Doheny after he fights Nick Ball, because I feel like Nick Ball will easily dispatch of TJ Doheny, and both of these guys have something similar in losing to Nick Ball. So I hope that fight would be made. Both the guys are on the older age side and could be an interesting scrap, as they're both trying to at least put on a pressure and try and win the fight. For Lee McGregor, trying to fight up the WBC rankings, it seems optimal for him, and right now the WBC doesn't really have much in contenders. I'll make a video talking about that later if I go through the WBC rankings. McGrill, he should just work his way back to through the super featherweight rankings. Reese Edwards, just go back to his original weight class to keep on boxing with the same year. Nothing much can be said. Daniel Lapin has something to be said a bit more, but he's a light heavyweight, and light heavyweight kind of has some tough competitors. But if Daniel Lapin wants to ever get a title shot, he should stick with the IBF route, as the IBF would just mandate him to get a title shot off some lackluster wins anyways. Julian Collin, stay in France, build yourself up to get more skills, then you can return to the world stage. Andrei Novitsky, possibly facing... Yeah, he could possibly be the one to also face Dave Allen as well. That would be a good fight for both of those guys. Edgar Ramirez, I feel like Edgar Ramirez would be a Johnny Fisher opponent to try and build him up. And Muhammad Alakal, just keep on fighting, be active, keep an active resume, and Joshua Campos, same there, just trying to keep an active schedule. But okay, that's been your boy TJ, and I'll see you next time, fight fans.